is actually now this barrier is coming down. It's an accepted fact now. People know that, if they really want to get back with their quality of life and spending this much of money, they can take this risk of flying to another country. So what are the future opportunities? How can we really look at this business with a telescope and maybe then the required pieces with a microscope? Despite the headwinds, industry experts expect the growth of medical tourism. That's the Deloitte and McKinsey, everybody. They differ on numbers, but certainly they agree on the growth potential. So there's an increasing trend towards globalization of healthcare, and it's not just about the cost arbitrage. So market is marked by change. There is a change in attitude towards international and domestic medical travel, and there are periods of consolidation right now, and a lot of opportunities are growing, though there is a recession in some parts of the world. Even providers there are looking at entering into some strategic tie-ups with hospitals here, where they can seamlessly, transfer some of the work that is either more expensive or not done in those markets, particularly in the developing world. Competition also sometimes does very good to you. This is something which has happened in US once a lot of patients started to go to Mexico and Costa Rica, to Thailand and to India. While the hospitals in Boston or Houston who are actually delivering great quality but are very, very expensive. And the other set of hospitals in the Mid East and on the western side realize that they are not as expensive as these. You saw those figures, $80,000 or $100,000 for some kind of surgeries. They were able to offer at something like $25,000, $30,000. So what has changed the market there is they started promoting their services, and this kind of an internal medical tourism has started within the US, whereby a patient who is considering an option, can't afford $80,000, is looking at going to Thailand, is now considering nearer home hospitals in US, which are offering at a much lower price than the top-rung hospitals. Hospitals in Africa, this is an every day we get some or the other, communication. They want to join hands with hospitals in India and maybe, either upgrade their facilities or create a system where there could be a seamless care available to the local patients. And there is a huge potential for strategic partnerships, which has not happened so far. Hospitals have an aspirations to get the business, do the medical work, and get over it. But I think the business will really grow if more number of players come together, like it happens with other service industries, like in the travel trade, for example. And also the local, state, and national governments, destination marketers, medical institutions, trade associations, health insurance providers, medical travel agencies, hotels, together can we get together and create a seamless offering for the customer. This is something which has started to take shape. So the growth of strategic partnerships and collaboration on so many levels, it will boost the opportunity. Another opportunity is really the potential to pick a niche within the market, the fact is that when we started, we thought probably the easiest piece is cosmetic surgery or a dental surgery, and then we realized that, it's first of all so easy to get a visa to come to India for these procedures. And while a cosmetic surgery may cost $3,000, your hotel stay in a good hotel in Delhi costs you not less than $200 a day. That's another $1,000, $1,500 to the cost, while in Thailand, you can get a decent hotel for $30, $40 and the cost is almost the same, so we realize it's not really worth competing in this market. While on the other hand, in the serious end of business medicine, oncology, neurosurgery, cardiac surgery, where our outcomes are much better, our costs are much more, and these are patients who don't mind staying in low cost, guest houses near the hospital for stay. It was much easier, and the ticket size itself is bigger. So strategically, it made sense to position India and our hospitals as a destination for high-end tertiary care, serious medicine, And that's where there is very little competition. I mean, you tell me which other country in the world has so many new hospitals coming up, so much of capacity, I mean, I'm aware of the top 10 towns of India even today, another 50 new hospitals, 400 beds or above. Each of them would probably have a PET scan and a CT and, a high-end MRI and probably robotics. And so in terms of emerging capacity, India, I think, is going to be, this is not going to happen in Thailand and Singapore, they have their own problems. And therefore, when I say picking up a niche in the market, we have not looked at the market in a very broad sense. For example, today, if we are able to offer a cardiac surgery starting from $3,000-4,000 at almost 99% success rate, globally we must be looking at how many cardiac surgeries are happening. How can we together as an industry pitch for that business? Create protocols, create value and benefit for that patients, create price bands so that India becomes a destination for low-cost, high-quality cardiac surgery. Just like if you want beach tourism, you go to Hawaii or Goa. So we have not worked in that direction. And it can be actually like a focus factory approach, the way a General Motors would build automobiles and deliver. I think there is a huge opportunity there. If we come together as an industry, the world is looking at us. There are benefits of developing medical tourism to local economies. And I think this is for real. You have to come to Gurgaon to really see where the whole ecosystem has developed with 4 or 5 big hospitals. It's a significant chunk of their business coming from international patients. And this whole lot of, support service providers who have emerged and who have benefited from housing to travel to, I would say, home healthcare services would also joining in terms of providing support to the patient when he gets discharged from the hospital. To even entertainment destinations like Kingdom of Dreams. People have stopped going to Agra for, and they go to Kingdom of Dreams and get a slice of India. So there is a tremendous benefit. And not only in India, in certain other countries. For example, I'm aware of Mexico and Costa Rica, 2 countries which have actually played their cards very well and benefiting from the, well-paying American medical traveler. It also helps to reduce seasonality and cyclicity. I mean, some 7-8 years ago, even heads of the hospitals whom I used to interact with used to say, why get foreign patients? We have no dearth of Indian patients, Why should we go and pitch for? But slowly, things have started to change. The bulk of the business today has moved into third-party payers like the TPAs and insurance and CGHS and so public sector and so on, who negotiate very hard with the hospitals. Profitability is low, and they pay sometimes after months. And here is a medical tourist or an international patient who, first of all, doesn't come here for any small-time treatment. No? He comes for cold elective surgery, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, pays up front, enters the hospital, gets it done. And I mean, any CFO of a hospital, if you ask him this question, that if you just have 20% of your patients, I mean, on an average, I haven't checked the figures recently, but a few years ago, I mean, when I used to look at even top hospitals' financials, an average patient revenue per night used to be about ₹1,00,000 for an inpatient. And here it is 3 times more than that. So if you have even 20% of your revenue coming in from foreign patients who pays you in advance, and it's 3 times your average revenue, you can imagine what impact it will make on the bottom line of NI. So this has become a priority, for the private hospitals. And of course, about the diversification of the tourism consumer base. Today, India is a fast-growing destination. Every new tourism setup provides many more jobs. So does every hospital. And if this revenue and this potential business helps you to overcome that initial 2-3 years of break even and viability of the hospital, and later on provide you better profitability, it is only ultimately going to benefit our own people, because that will help us bring down the cost in general ward, which the common people use, and of course help to hospitals to add more capacity. So it's certainly good for the country. And there is a potential to attract other high revenue support industries, world-renowned medical centers to a destination. Now this is something which I have seen not very successfully, but it's happening in some parts of the world. People looking at this opportunity and creating some kind of clusters, healthcare clusters. Dubai, for example, has got a Johns Hopkins and a Harvard institution and a German hospital. And initially, they're not doing a great amount of work, but actually they are, as a cluster, attracting patients from all over the Middle East. If not for surgery, then at least for outpatient consultations and diagnostics. And then eventually, I think they will also start delivering the service. So the venture capitals and entrepreneurs are actually, they're quite serious about this kind of creating clusters where not only the hospitals and healthcare, but biotech, medical equipment, technicians, all the technology companies also join. And also, when we set up this about 8-9 years ago, the Wockhardt Hospital in Bangalore, there were 13 of the top specialists who started the hospital actually had worked in US and UK. What we used to worry about, the brain drain, actually is becoming now a reverse brain drain, or a brain gain, I would say. So I keep meeting a lot of doctors who worked for many years in UK, in US, in Australia, and now with children's growing up and cultural issues and parents getting old. And previously, there were not many institutions who were giving them this opportunity of continuing the quality of work that they are doing there. But now, with this foreign patients also coming in here, they are more than eager to relocate. And so therefore, if India gains a lot of trained medical professionals who have worked at the leading hospitals or centers of excellence overseas, I think it's cannot be really translated in money, and it's a great benefit for our country as a whole. And I think medical tourism certainly has a role to play in that. Finally, accreditation and metrics. Sorry. So what are the factors for a successful medical tourism destination? That's the final part of my talk today. So as the global demand grows and this phenomena receives more attention, so new ventures and both the private and government investment will get into this. I think the number one factor for the success and growth is the manpower, highly skilled healthcare labor force, and not only skilled in their core competence of medicine, surgery, but also they have to be trained in terms of handling foreign patients, sensitizing them about the cultural, sensitivity and language skills, the soft skills part of it, which many of the hospitals have done, and they've actually reaped a lot of benefit out of it. Improving and communicating the quality of health services. The focus on quality and product and service and initiatives where how we can reduce the risk for these patients who take this leap of faith to come from another country into India. I think that has to be a top priority. Fears of low quality is that's a major impediment for the growth of this medical tourism. And industry is developing several solutions to address the need for better quality, both before the patient arrives in terms of, a lot of hospitals have now set up consultations on Skype and telemedicine and how to electronically transfer diagnostic reports and also use the same services for continuity of care. So this is really the key factor. And of course, what drives, and I think Dr. Bhatia is here, I was just mentioning to him yesterday, almost 10 years ago we were together on a task force on medical tourism which CII had set up, Dr. Naresh Trayan as his head. And when we were actually talking about medical tourism, and we visited countries like Malaysia and Thailand and UK, and the first question that was thrown at us was, do you have a system of accreditation? And that is what gave the birth to this whole initiative of accreditation and set